Are YouTuber or influencer retreats worth it or not? Stick around to the end to learn about a hidden benefit of doing this. Let's get into it. So first things first, right? If we're talking about something being worth it, most people are talking about cost to value, right? So like, is the amount that you pay worth the amount of value you get out of it? In order to know that, we have to know how much it costs. So a lot of these are probably going to be around $2,000 to $3,000 or more to hang out with whatever influencer you choose, not including flights to travel to whatever country it is. Hang out with them probably for about a week. Usually that's the model most people use. So for me, I think the cost of the program was $2,200 and the flight was under $1,000, so it's about $3,000 total. All the food was covered during these 7 days, which is how long my trip was. I didn't really spend a ton more than that, so it's about $3,000 all in all. 7 days, including the flights to Thailand, which is where the first one I went on was. Next is, what do you get out of it, right? So first you have the kind of advertised thing that they're going to tell you you're going to get from it. So for these YouTuber ones, or maybe some of these influencer ones, they're probably going to tell you that they're going to teach you some skills they have, whether it's being a travel influencer like them or how to be a YouTuber better at it, things like that. So I went on a trip with a guy named Potato Jet. That's his YouTube channel. He has more than 1 million subs. Mainly does camera stuff. Lots of camera YouTube videos. And he's really funny. Has some funny friends. So it's him and Sam were the two main ones from the channel that, oh, and Dylan that went. And then Randy, his brother, came. And then a bunch of people from a prior trip came, and then there was all of us newbies, like myself. So the promise was, right, that we were gonna learn some education about how to be better YouTube people, how to vlog better, things like that. And that was kind of the education side of it. And then we have this sort of other value, right? This more hidden one that's not as much advertised. And that's gonna be more the connections that you make and how far those go, right? If you still are talking to them years later, if the knowledge that you learned just from talking to other people, not from the primary education, is stuff that you will take with you forever. So we kind of have these three things competing, right? And the fourth thing is travels, experiences, and just like having fun, just enjoying yourself, right? You're in another country. You're not just there to learn. You're not just there to make friends. You're there to have unforgettable experiences. So we have great experiences, getting to travel. We have the unforeseen benefits / making potentially lifelong friends. We have the education promised by the program itself. And lastly, we have the cost, right? So is it worth it considering all these things? So I'll say from an education standpoint, I learned a good amount. It's definitely not like this crazy education bootcamp focused thing. And that's not super the way it was marketed. Like, it was marketed to teach you some stuff. And it did teach me a good amount about how to be better on YouTube. And honestly, it was like, I could get as much education-wise out of it as I wanted to, right? I could ask more questions. But for me, the real value wasn't in what they said I would get out of it or learn. The best value for me was in meeting people and making these lifelong friendships with other people like me, right? Because the people that sign up to go to a trip with an influencer that you really like, or a YouTuber that you really like, are going to be other people interested in that same topic as you, spontaneous enough to just randomly travel across the world and buy this trip as soon as it gets announced, right? Because most of these sell out pretty quickly if they're big enough. You're just meeting extremely like-minded people. Years from now, I'm still like kind of doing YouTube more definitely right now, and I get to still like reach out to a lot of the friends that I made, and we get to kind of build our channels together, and it's like more fun, it's more communal. So that's number 2. So education, probably like 7 out of 10. The friends I made out of it, probably like 10 out of 10. And the experiences, probably like also 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. There were some things that weren't as fun, where we were all like really tired of climbing up a mountain. Sorry to our, I wasn't as tired as everyone else, but overall, like, it was great. If there were any moments that weren't as fun, we were like going through them together, so we were like always bonding. But the experiences are crazy. Like, I got to wash an elephant Like wash it down in a little pond with a bunch of other people. And these things are huge. I got to like play around with a bunch of monkeys, go to a bunch of temples, all that stuff. So based on those, are you worth it, right? If you're just trying to learn a lot, you have to be really driven and focused on getting that. Otherwise, you won't get as much as you want. So that's kind of on you. If you're looking to make lifelong friends, that's gonna happen. Like pretty much guaranteed. If you're looking to have crazy experiences, that's gonna happen. Like-minded people, that's gonna happen. All right, last secret benefit before my camera runs out of space is the after party. So like a lot of times when you go on these trips, everyone's itching to travel more. So you actually get to do more afterwards. And that's actually cheaper than the trip itself. So for us, we went from Thailand to Krabi, which is sort of this place where you can go island hopping and like drive scooters, like go all around, get these crazy fancy Airbnbs for not that expensive. And that was honestly like the best part of the trip experience wise. About half people came, the other half had to like go back to work or whatever. To conclude, I think it was like massively worth it. I don't know if it'd be worth it after you make all these friends to pay to do the same trip to a different place 3 or 4 times or like more than that. Definitely a couple times. Still a vibe. The guy planning all of it does like know everyone there, has all these experiences down. You're gonna have like a great time. After you go on 1 or 2 of these trips, maybe even just one, you can make friends with these people and just go plan your own stuff and like go visit each other, go travel the world, do all these crazy things. And it's going to cost you less because you're not going to have to do it in the context of a program, because the program was just to meet everyone and make these good connections, right? So once you have those, you can just hang out, have a good time, learn stuff in a lot more laid back context in the future. To summarize, I think it is massively worth it to go on one of these trips. You're going to meet people just like you with the same interests, and you're going to be really inspired to sort of work harder and work on yourself more because of it. You're gonna enjoy the heck out of it and have these unforgettable life experiences. And lastly, nothing is promised. You could be like, oh, I'll go next year. But a lot of these creators, they don't have time to go on these trips a million times. They do it a few times and then that's it. They like go on back to their busy schedule because they can make more money making content than going on a few trips and meeting some people, right? Even though they're getting paid, if their business is growing the way it should be, they're gonna be getting paid more and more doing their own thing, being consistent. So you might not ever get a chance to do it, especially with an influencer that you really like. So I would definitely recommend it. Definitely do it with an influencer or YouTuber you're invested in, and not just one that's big just to go with them. I think you'll get more out of it that way. Yeah, I think it's crazy worth it. And I don't know why more people aren't doing it. I know there's not a ton of these trips out there, but in my opinion, if you feel like you have something to learn from them, even if you learn nothing, I think it's still worth it, to be honest. Just the connections you make, the friends you make, the experiences you have, hands down worth it. So this is an easy video because like there weren't a lot of negatives, to be honest. Kind of cost a lot at first, but once you do it, it's like, it's well worth it. Doing college experiences or things like that, study abroad, like whatever, way more expensive than going on one of these creator trips. Sweet, that's the video. Stay tuned for my next video about whether studying abroad in college is worth it or not, because that's a lot more expensive. All right, peace.